Welcome again to Ham Radio Perspectives. I'm Tom, WA9TDD.
Yeah, and I'm the other half of the Dit and Duh brothers. I'm Quin, K8QS, and we are here with Steve, N3KDN, and we have called him the king of QRP rigs. I met Steve, I think it was on 17 meters, and he started telling me about all of these QRP rigs he's had in the past, he has now, and all what he's got going on with QRP rigs. And I thought, man, this is the king of QRP rigs. Notice I didn't say king of QRP. He's got some kind of fetish for collecting these rigs. So we're gonna have some fun with you, Steve. Thanks so much for coming in and joining us. Let's just get started on this. How in the world did you get into QRP in the first place?
Actually, I got started into it I saw an ICOM 703 on a clearance sale. I do not remember the distributor that was selling it on clearance. And 703 basically is the same size as a 706, but it has an auto tuner in it and it does 10 watts. And I was looking for a smaller radio just to kind of play around with, and I think it was on clearance for like $250, and I was like, oh my God. And I saw them at the Hamfest at actually a Dayton Hamvention, and I figured for the price I'd get it. And then I just started playing around with it in the backyard, and at a local Hamfest. I think it was a Butler Hamfest. I picked up an MP1 antenna, which is like a wire round, little like a variable type antenna with I think it had a 58-inch whip on it. And I just put it on a tripod, and that's what got me rolling. And
and what's interesting to me is that often when we talk with people like QRP, they usually do it with CW. What amazed me when I worked you was that you were on sideband with QRP. Is that your typical way of operating?
Yes, yeah. This strictly sideband. I started off on CW, but I like to talk to people. I like the voice. I'm generally on either 20, but I'm not a contester. So I generally like to hang out on 17. There's a nice 17 meter net that's on there all the time, and some was down on 17. So.
Right, that's great. So let's go through some QRP rigs here. We're going to start with some of your past rigs and have you make any comments you want, including why you might have gotten rid of one. And let's start with the ICOM 703.
Actually, I still have it.
I
have it with the backpack. A gentleman that was a flyer. He was a commercial pilot for, I cannot remember what airlines, but he was flying to Japan, and he picked me up the backpack and the AH703 antenna for it, which was a matching backpack antenna, and the voice module for that radio. And I still have that radio, and I still use it periodically, and I may part company with it, but I may not, because it's still pristine and I still use it periodically. It's a great little radio.
Okay, what about the Xiegu G90?
G90 is, if you're just getting into ham radio, it's a great little starter radio. For a QRP rig, it's kind of big, heavy, has got a decent receiver on it, an amazing auto tuner on it, but the current draw on it, for me, is just kind of too much for a QRP rig.
Okay, what about the Xiegu 6100?
Nice radio. The display on it is very hard to see in the sun. I used it for about 6 months, and I just figured, okay, nice, but a guy made me an offer on it, and we kind of did some swapping on it, and so it kind of parted company with me. But it had a nice tuner on it, though, but the display is kind of weak in the sun.
And the Zygu X5105.
That's an interesting little radio. It's a true QRP. That's only 5 watts output. It's really the current draw on it is minimal. The battery pack that comes built into it will run a pretty long time. The auto tuner on it is really great. But like most rigs, I used that for about 6 months, and then somebody I was talking to on it kind of contacted me via the email, internet, and made me an offer on it. So that kind of went bye-bye as well.
Okay. Now let's get into the current QRP rigs you have and get your comments about these. And obviously you're hanging on to them for a while, so you must like them.
This one I just literally got, the FTX-1F. I got that probably about a month ago. I put the Bluetooth module in it, just upgraded the firmware, and there is a nice case for it. WinCamp makes it. It's the same case that they make for the 705. Nice thing about this, the display on it is phenomenal. The audio on the radio is killer. It's loud. Seems like the receiver on it is really hot. The display on it in the sun, it's really nice. I haven't really had a chance to use it yet outside too much, but I think I'm going to like it.
Okay. The Lab 599 TX 500.
Oh, I love this. A lot of people don't like it because when they first came out, they were made in Russia. And with all the political stuff going on right now, mine I acquired was made in United Arab Immigrants, UAE. And I acquired that in a trade, and I was lucky mine didn't have work on it. I operate a lot from the beach, and this is nice because it's basically water resistant, so I don't have to worry about the sand getting in it or anything. And the weather down here, typical Florida, you can have bright sunny weather, and 5 minutes later it's raining like hell. Excuse my language. The receiver on it is great. The current draw on this thing is next to nil. It's built like a tank. It's I think it's a magnesium case on it. Everything is sealed on it.
What's the power on this one, Steve?
It goes up to 10 watts.
Okay.
There's no auto tuner. There is no auto tuner on it. You do have to use an auto tuner.
Okay.
I use a little ATU-10. You can get.
Yeah, we'll show that. We'll
Okay.
show that in a minute. And here's the little setup.
Yeah, that's it in this little carrying case. The carrying case is my latest acquisition for it, but it holds the tuner, the mic. It does not have a built-in speaker. The hand mic itself is the speaker.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The FX4CR, I got one of these when you first came out with them. This little thing is about the size of a pack of cigarettes. It's all metal. It's got an absolutely amazing display on it. It's a TFT color display. Like I said, it puts out 20 watts. There's no water tuner on it. Great receiver. If you get one of these things, if you're a little bit more advanced than beginner ham, search on the internet. It's called, the gentleman's name is F as in Foxtrot, the number 5, B as in Baker, U as in Uniform, D as in Delta. His it totally changes the whole characteristics of the radio, gives you a lot more features. It gives
so you're a fan.
Oh my God, yes. The F5BUD firmware. He writes it, and about every 4 months he comes up with a new upgrade, adds more features to it.
Okay,
Beautiful
good,
radio.
good recommendation. So here it is with what your antenna tuner.
Yes, that is an Elecraft T1 that I bought that was non-functional at a Hamfest. That all I needed was about 4 cents worth of diodes, and I use that because that's it's a 20-watt rig and it's a 20-watt
Tuner.
antenna tuner.
Great. All right, the 705, legendary now.
Yes, amazing rig. Highly recommend it. They're kind of getting old in the tooth now, but they really hold up well. I would recommend if you get one, get the metal cage for it, like the ARC 705 from like WinCamp, or there's another company that makes a metal cage for it, just to protect it.
Okay, now let's just look at the bundles that you use a little bit again here. What's this one?
That is the 705 in the WinCamp case.
Okay.
That's got a the metal shield around it, the ARC case. And I did not show it in the picture, but I do a lot of 3D printing, and I do have a 3D printed cover that goes over that to protect the. It covers the whole front of it to give it a little bit more protection. And that's just the DX500, the Labs 599 on the left, the Yaesu FTX1F in the middle, and the ICOM 705 on the right, and the FTX 4CR in the middle.
Okay. Tuners.
That little ATU 10 is on the left. You can get those, like I say, on eBay. I've seen them as low as $60, $65. They charge by USB-C. The battery will last you a good month, at least, on a charge. The nice thing about those is that if you have an ICOM 705, you don't have to put out $200 odd to get a auto tuner for the ICOM 705. That'll plug in to the ICOM 705 and use the auto tuner circuitry of the 705. It will plug right into the back of the ATU 10. And on the right is the Elecraft T1. One of the main things if you're into QRP is size and weight. On occasions, I'll take small antenna analyzers, and the one on the left is the FGO1. It was a U-kit. It's they don't make them anymore. They're like hen's teeth to find. It's built like a tank. It's a heavy metal little box, but it works great. And the same thing, I don't think the MFJ makes the one on the right anymore. It's a nice little antenna analyzer. It's not as advanced as say like the 55 zooms or models or above. But for like setting up, if you want to say trying to set up some type of resident antenna, they work absolutely fine and they don't take up much space.
Okay, great. Now let's look at your field setup, and Tom will ask you about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So antenna, what's your favorite field antenna setup? Looks like, is that a telescoping vertical?
That is an old believe it or not, it's an old Vietnam era Manpack folding antenna. That's a 9.5 foot folding military whip. From I think it was an old PRC military Vietnam era radio. It folds down to like 14 inches long, the whole antenna.
Is that a loading? Is that a loaded coil on the bottom?
That is a matching transformer. That will match anything from like 80 meters on up to 6 meters.
Wow.
And what I do is I just drive a 3-foot ground rod into wet sand down there by the water line and just hook the coax to it. And, people have gotten used to me doing this now at the causeway where we generally go. When I first started doing it, people were like, well, what are you doing? No, if I go down there with a magnetic loop, which I've done a couple of times, I make my own magnetic loop antennas at times. But if I go down there with a magnetic loop antenna, they do kind of ask some questions now. But generally, with this type of antenna, they're used to it.
Yeah, you tell them you're sufficient for tarpon.
Yeah, I get some really weird looks because you got to kind of rotate the antenna around, and they're like, but they've gotten used to it.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, now the other thing we want to cover here with you, this is so interesting about you and doing QRP, is your condo setup. So you're on the second floor, and that's what it looks like, huh?
Right. One thing I found out when I first moved here is I'm in a retirement condo, so I can't have any external antennas, and but we do have this wonderful, actually I measured it, I think it's like 78 foot long. It's multi-sections, but it's all aluminum railing, and I went down the whole length of it with a multimeter and I checked it, but it's all electrically connected. So I found it makes an amazing counterpoise.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever I mount my antenna, when we get to the point, you'll see that I don't have to put down counterpoises because I end up using this whole railing as a counterpoise. What I used is a chameleon micro transformer. Matching transformer. I've got several of these, and I use I have to check my little cheat sheet here. Excuse me. It is a Workman QRC S3 clamp, and if you can see where the chameleon is mounted on it, okay, there is a lockdown screw on that, and that will rotate 90 degrees. So you can either have it mounted like that or mount it vertically in relation to that clamp. So all you got to do is loosen that, rotate it upright, and tighten up the set screw. And that's what I use. So, and these are the two main antennas I use. The upper one is the military whip. That's actually 9.5 feet tall. And I picked that up as a local yard sale for, I think, $1.50 or $2. And the other one is a 16-foot chameleon stainless steel whip.
Okay. So anybody that's getting into QRP, and gets frustrated, what's your words of wisdom about operating QRP in difficult situations?
Main thing is QRP, you have to have patience. When you first get into it, if you don't have patience, you're going to get frustrated because it's not like, that's why actually I have some of my equipment that I have, because people think you're going to get into this like QRO, you're going to make one call, they're going to jump back at you. If you do it long enough, it's really hard to explain, but you do kind of get your own rhythm of like when to throw your call sign out. And most of the guys, if they catch your call sign, if they catch a bit of the QRP at the end of your call sign, they'll immediately come back to you because they know you're out there trying. And that's why I like it. It's because I like the difficulty of it. I like the challenge of it. I like to experiment with antennas, and that's what I like about it. And,
Right.
I like being outside. And
So, what if you were to go out today, Steve? What rig might you take, and what antenna if you're going to the beach?
today, right now, way the weather's going, I'd probably take we got some rain coming. I'd probably take the DX500, but I really, really, really want to try that Yaesu, the FTX1-F out and give that a go. I've got a couple of Bioenno batteries that if you're going to get into a radio, I highly recommend those for a power source because they're good size. They have a lot of power to them. The main thing, if you're going to look for a QRP rig, is really one, how much you feel like dragging around with you, depending on like how far you're going to go. If you're going to be like climbing hillsides or like POTA, or not POTA, but more like soda summits on the air. You don't want to be dragging around, dragging a 3-pound radio and a large 7-pound battery. I mean, you want something small and light. So you want to get a radio that's going to draw minimal amounts of current and such like that. So, that you got to kind of keep that in mind. So size and weight.
Steve, QRP is such a great part of the hobby, and you're a testament to what you can do with it. And you keep experimenting with different rigs, with different antennas. And look what you did at your condo. That's a brilliant setup. Wow. That you've got that set up like that. And we're grateful for you. And we're grateful for that you would do this video with us. And of course, when I post this, I'm going to send you the link and you can follow the questions or comments that people are making and see if you can help any of those folks by answering their questions. We would really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'd be more than happy.
All right, this has been Ham Radio Perspectives. I'm Quin, K8QS.
I'm Tom, WE9TDD.
And we've been here with Steve, N3KDN, if you want to contact him through QRZ or whatever. 73, everybody.
All right, 73.